This was it. This was the moment something in my brain just broke irrevocably. Baby Steps had defeated me, not because the game is impossibly hard, you understand, it isn't. This was just one in a long string of setbacks that would eventually be behind me with perseverance. All of the experiences I'd had up to this point had taught me that. Indeed, you could convincingly argue that one of the overriding messages of Baby Steps is that with determination, willingness to think outside the normal rules, and a bit of nifty footwork, you can overcome any obstacle. You can succeed in a world designed to make you fail. Admittedly, that also describes the movie Dirty Dancing, which has a better soundtrack and doesn't make you want to kick things. I can't think of a game I've had a more visceral love-hate relationship with than Baby Steps, a game that makes me veer wildly between adoration and admiration for its audacity, its bold design choices, and loathing, physical revulsion for the gut-twisting frustration that those choices are adeptly designed to inspire. A piece of interactive art that is at once beautifully and hatefully engineered. And yet, despite it all, despite every footstep that brings you to the brink of a stress-induced aneurysm, despite the agony of all the lost progress the game will mercilessly inflict on you for the crime of making a tiny mistake, it's impossible to hate this game as much as it hates you. It's relatable, jovial even.
Oh hey, another newbie!
Oh hey, I'm not new. You must be newer than me.
Yeah, no, I just got in.
You can't help but feel solidarity for protagonist Nate, a 35-year-old fail son, their words not mine, still living at home, wasting his life away in his parents' basement watching anime. I mean, to be fair, there's worse ways to live, right? Then, without explanation, he's blipped into a strange fantasy dimension full of eerie monuments whose purpose is an esoteric mystery, treacherous, outright hostile terrain, and a bunch of Australians serving drinks, which admittedly sounds like a pub crawl in Dundee.
A night to remember.
Oh yeah, it's good.
You were the life of the party.
But also there's clearly something very Death Stranding about all this, and I don't just mean the constant threat of falling over. This game has a certain Kojima-ness about it, a boldness in the way it confronts and subverts a lot of video game tropes, and a confidence in the way it pushes the medium into places it hasn't really gone before. For example, before we get into specifics, the dialogue is improvised, and I don't mean there's some improvised lines. A lot of video games have unscripted moments that actors spontaneously come up with. Actors do that. I mean, the scenes in this game are shot a little bit like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where there's a start and an end to the scene that is planned, but how they get there is spontaneity, and the VAs, who are just the devs by the way, just sort of seeing where the scene takes them.
How long you been here?
Yeah, I guess about 5 hours now.
What you doing there?
Just looking over the edge here.
And I'm sure a lot of editing and pickups and things to get to the final product, but video game cutscenes are usually meticulously planned at every step because there's so many moving parts to them, but the scenes in Baby Steps have a fizzy sort of chaos to them that can only really come forth from genuine improv.
Just pretend I'm not here, sorry.
Oh, no. Good spot to sit. Yeah, normally. You're kind of sitting on my husband, though.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, is he all right?
Oh, no harm done. Can I get you a cup of coffee?
No, I don't. The caffeine's not good for me.
What the was I talking about? Oh yeah, Kojima. So, Kojima's games have this signature blend of sort of serious hyperrealism and comic absurdism. In the space of 5 minutes, you can go from a sobering commentary on the nefarious ways the military-industrial complex maintains its funding, and then you're fighting an obese rollerblading terrorist dressed like Liam Gallagher who calls himself Fat Man.
I am Fat Man.
He's just a guy who's fat and his name is Fat Man. I'd be like if I was called Fat Man. And Baby Steps is Death Stranding, where your only cargo is Nate's big beautiful dump truck of an ass. The point is this: you play a Kojima game, the realism is stifling. You can feel the cold of the mud. It takes real effort just to shoot a gun, like 7 buttons or whatever, and yet the setup is so mental that you might as well be in Narnia. Paradoxically, Baby Steps tells you you're not in Kansas anymore by subjecting you to the most realistic walking simulation since before the term was ever coined. You immediately have to unlearn how to move and then learn how to walk. It's like having meningitis or something. Rather than simply flying a disembodied camera or willing an avatar into action with the vaguest of gestures, you are now directly responsible for where a video game character places his feet and shifts his body weight. And the results are highly disconcerting, and while you're getting to grips with that exciting new reality, you're greeted by Jim, one of the game's many recurring characters.
I'm Jim.
No, I'm Jim.
Yeah, no, you're Jim.
Just relax.
An affable guide whose job it is to make sure you have everything you need to survive the mountain, such as a map, such as the appropriate footwear.
I'm just trying to get you some shoes.
No,
Yeah, because of the bare feet.
I don't. Yeah, that's how I like it. I just do.
Just your feet.
Yeah.
Which Nate refuses to take advantage of out of that sort of self-sabotaging politeness that plagues people with an anxiety disorder.
Do you not have a map?
Oh, kind of like a mental map.
And if you suffer from that sort of thing, or have a loved one who does, you'll immediately recognise it, and I don't think I've ever seen that depicted in a video game before, which immediately stopped me in my tracks because, for want of a better phrase, I felt so seen. And it doesn't help that I look like the guy to the point where even my 2-year-old started taking the piss about daddy falling over on the telly. And before you click off, I'm not saying this game is about me. This isn't now going to be a navel-gazing essay about my struggle. I just can't stress enough how relatable it is, and I think it's fair to say how specifically relatable it is to the millennial condition. Nate is one of the most cutting player inserts I think there's ever been, in stark contrast to GTA 5's Trevor, who is supposed to personify how your average player conducts themselves in a criminal power fantasy. Nate is an ineffective loser who won't advocate for himself at all, to the point of absurdity. Trevor's probably the guy a lot of us pretends to be on the internet, the guy who'll do whatever he wants, the guy who'll pee anywhere, whereas Nate is who we actually are in real life, a wee sad sack who wouldn't say booty a goose. I wasn't just trying to be funny talking about Trevor peeing either. The entire impetus of Baby Steps' story is the fact that Nate desperately needs to pee, and could do so at any time, but he can't because he's too embarrassed. He just can't let his bladder go if there's any chance he might be being perceived. And the game takes the by having actual toilets in the world, which for various contrived reasons Nate can't actually use. And that mirrors the engineered cruelty of the game's design, which is honestly genius. Every path up to the peak of this vast open world mountain. Did I mention it's open world? Yes, it's open world. Every path includes a seemingly impossible obstacle that, if you put a foot wrong trying to cross, will result in you losing, in some cases, like 10 minutes of progress. The game will relentlessly tempt you away from making progress with absolutely pointless side activities, the pursuit of which will often set you back massively for the sake of, like, the hat, which doesn't do anything. In some cases, the game will literally tell you straight, for example, not to bother climbing a tower because there's nothing up there.
Oh, you're going up after all?
Yeah, no, I'm Nate, and I was gonna.
I thought I told you there's nothing up there.
And you'll spend ages trying to climb the tower anyway, convinced that because you've been told there's nothing up there, there must be something up there. And, well,
God.
I'm trying not to spoil things here, but no, you should totally climb the tower. You should do it. This game is an asshole, but it's the worst kind of asshole. It's one that you know isn't wrong. It's one that hasn't deceived you.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
It's played you like a fiddle because it knows how to exploit all the assumptions you take for granted to set traps for you. The Pavlovian conditioning that decades of open world games have reinforced, where you expect to just be rewarded for showing up to places. You expect a dopamine hit for checking out a pile of rocks that is just a pile of rocks, and it hurts. The hole where that dopamine should be and isn't. It hurts, though you will often find it really funny when you're failing because the game's almost nihilistically going, well, I didn't ask you to play me, I'm just sitting here, mate. Actually, I'm still the game now. Actually, I keep kind of telling you that this is ultimately devoid of any meaning beyond that which you ascribe to it. What does it mean that in this game it will take you hours and hours to climb up a structure that any Assassin's Creed protagonist could fly up in about 10 seconds? And Assassin's Creed would only reward you by adding more things to your to-do list. Ultimately, both things are empty, and in one of them you barely even did anything, you just pressed up on the stick. In contrast to Ezio, Nate's feet go exactly where you tell them to. exactly. And the one game design trope that Baby Steps fully embraces is fake shadows for player feedback. You know what I mean? When Mario jumps in a 3D Mario game, you know where he's going to land because his shadow is always directly below him. We know this, that's part of the established language of video games. That's obviously not how shadows actually work, but it's a conceit that allows you to successfully navigate 3D platforms through a flat screen. Loads of video games do this, Baby Steps is no different. Nate is not falling over because the game is treacherous. Nate is falling over because his feet are going exactly where you tell them to. Every time you F it up, every time you fall back down the mountain, it's not because the system has failed, it's because the system is working exactly as designed. There's definitely a metaphor in there somewhere. Even the save system, which is incredibly well engineered, works perfectly at saving the game wherever you happen to be. It works too well. You can't even trick it into banking progress for you. Even if you're mid-maneuver, even if you have a hard crash, which did happen to me once, but I don't actually think it was the game's fault, the save system didn't miss a beat, which is infuriating because there's no way to bank your progress. You can't just drop a save and carry on, secure in the knowledge that you won't ever have to climb those stairs or cross that bridge again. You get one save per playthrough, and the video game should respect my time brigade will rail against it and insist on quality of life updates to change it and make it easier for them. And they're wrong, because everything about this game is as it should be, in service of its emotional core, which is the tension in never being able to relax until it's over. And ultimately, one way or another, when it's over, is entirely up to you, which is why I eventually it off and played Easy Delivery Co instead, a PS1 style delivery simulator that's also full of intrigue and mysterious talking animals, that's also set up and down the slopes of a big open world mountain, and is also honest to a fault. Easy Delivery Co is a Ron Seal title that is so chilled out it's literally freezing, and it's exactly the sort of palate cleanser you need after Baby Steps has spent 10 to 15 hours giving you an existential kicking. I do actually love Easy Delivery Co, it's an easy recommendation, but do I recommend Baby Steps? That's a tough question, and I'm not being facetious when I say I think it's a real Game of the Year contender. It's not a forgettable sort of middle of the road experience like so many of the biggest games of the given year are. It's a true piece of art. It makes you question so many things about the medium that you take for granted or have just come to accept. And it makes you feel, like physically feel, in your chest, in your gut. And not all of those feelings are good. In fact, it dares to make you feel bad. There's so many layers to it. It's a true millennial odyssey, an examination of open world game design, a take of Dear Esther, and at the end of it all, a take of you. It has crushed my spirit, and I can only admire it. So do I recommend it? No. Obviously not.